everybody. Welcome to Dandelion Cottage. Today is Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins, and today I've got a cat that's making a lot of noise in the background. I think we're all getting cabin fever here. Sophia! And it's snowing again today. So I was outside looking around to see what I could bring in to paint for you today. And I found a tiny little bouquet of miniature spring flowers. So let me show that to you. So I've got some blue scilla and a miniature daffodil. I think it's tete-a-tete. I've got some more forsythia, and these are the buds coming on my Prairie Fire crabapple. There's a little more Daphne left, and I found a sweet little Johnny Jump Up. So these are our inspiration for today. I hope you've been going out and doing a little bit of watercolor painting. If you're still waiting to get started, please go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com and subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, and you will get an email that has a listing of all of my May classes coming up, and there are some watercolor classes in there. And a lot of other stuff. So please do that. I promise I won't spam you. I won't share your information with anybody else. It's just an email to let you know what I'm doing. So let's turn you down and we'll get started. I have a piece of hot press watercolor paper here. And hang on just a second. Okay, so this measures about 7.5 by 5.5. And I thought what I would show you would be a way that you can use some decorative images and make a nice pattern that you can use for a background or a card or wrapping paper or really anything. So to do that, I'm going to start with my largest flower first. So I'm going to take this cute little daffodil, and this time, excuse me, this time I'm not going to use any pencil line. I'm just going to paint directly. So I'm only using red, yellow, and blue, just 3 colors. I'm taking some yellow and I'm mixing it with a tiny bit of red just to warm it up a little bit. And I'm just going to get an impression of this flower. And I'm going off center. And I'm just using my brush to create the shapes of the petals. Now this petal is in shadow, so I've added a little bit of violet to that mixture. Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. It's because I've been self-isolating so long I don't use my voice. So I'm losing my voice. Maybe when we all come out of this, everybody will stay silent. That would be kind of nice, actually. All right, so here is the trumpet, and now I'm adding even more red. And I'm just going to drop that in and let that swirl around a little bit. And while it's still slightly damp, I'm just going to take a couple of lines of shadow and begin to indicate some of these darker areas and these creases and folds. All right, I'm going to leave that alone. Actually, let me zoom you. There you go. So I'll come back to that, but that's a start. I'm just going to leave that for now. And now I think I'll take my my beautiful blue scilla Everybody see that? Aren't they lovely? Looks like these have been a little bit battered by all the snow we've been having. They're starting to lose their color a little bit, but there will be more. All right, so now I'm just wetting my blue. And I'm going to look and see, this flower also has 6 petals. Okay, it's got kind of a green center, and it's paler in the center than it is at the tips of the petals. So I can move my paper around, and let's just see. So if I do 6 petals in a little star design, and then take a brush with just water on it, I can just pull that paint towards the center so I get a lighter area in the center, like so. And let's do a couple of those. Another thing I can do is I can moisten the paper first. So now it's slightly damp, and then drop the color in and just let it swirl around that damp area and let it do its thing. All right, before I go much further, I want to get another one of these daffodils. Actually, let's do 3. Let's keep an odd number. That might have a little too much red in it, so I'm just going to dilute that. And now I'm just using plain water, and I'm just pulling the paint from these other areas. Just painting right on the paper like so. Give that a darker center. We'll get back to that one. So I think you can see I'm not too concerned with drawing the individual plants so much as getting the basic information and just sort of putting them around the paper. I'm going to go back to the blue. Soften the center. Another one over here. And put one here. And we'll put 2 more. Okay, so we're starting to see a pattern come. Well, maybe you're not seeing it, but I've got an idea of it. Now I'm going to take this. This is the Prairie Fire Crabapple, and it is such a beautiful plant. You can Google it and look it up. I have a couple of them. I think I have 3 of them, and it has beautiful crimson red leaves in the spring, and then the blossoms are a deep, rich crimson as well. Not as dark as this, of course, but they are just beautiful. And they're very distinctive. They really stand out. So it's a beautiful specimen tree to have in your yard. So for that, I'm going to take my red, and I'm going to mix a little bit of blue in it to give it more of that red-violet tonality. There we go. And let's start over here. And I'm just going for an impression of this. And I can vary the shapes. I'm just going to work my way around. Very loose, nothing that requires big-time drawing skills or careful study. We're just going for an impression here. And at this stage, I'm really just looking for placement. Because I'm going to come back and I'm going to work in each of these areas in a minute. Now before we run out of room, I don't want to forget our little Johnny Jump Up. So for this, I'm going to add more blue to the red. Actually, let's start in the center. I'm going to start in the center because the yellow is lighter. So I'm just going to take some pure yellow, and I'm just going to put a little spot here and there. And you can do this with absolutely anything. I mean, obviously, it could be any kind of flower or bird or butterfly or anything you like, just using this kind of idea as you go along. Okay, now I'm getting back to the blue violet. There we go. And if you look closely here, what you have are these two big lobes on the top, and then you've got the three petals down below. So you've got this larger lower petal, these two little kind of flaps, and then these bigger lobes. I want to add a little more red to my mixture. There we go. Okay. So just sort of indicating the big lobes on the top, little side flaps like so, and then the bottom. And these are very tiny. Okay. So I'm looking forward to next month's classes in May. I'm hoping that the snow will be gone by then, and I will have lots of specimens to share with you. I'm going to be using a magnolia theme for both the watercolor and the paper crafting classes. And there's going to be several. So instead of having just the one class at the end of the month, I'm going to have 3. So you don't want to miss that announcement, and you'll only see that in the notes from Dandelion Cottage. So please go there to sign up for notes. And in addition to that, I'm going to have a special for the members of my design team. And as a team member, you're entitled to all sorts of discounts and access to free videos and classes and all sorts of different surprises. One of them is I'm going to be giving a gift to each of my team members of a beautiful little punch, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. And that'll be for the first, I think I have 5 of them. So for the first 5 people that join my team, you will also get a special gift from me. And you can find out more about that also on the website. So check that out. All right, so just a couple more, and then we're going to get started on the second step. So I call this 1, 2, 3 watercolor painting. So we're going to go light, medium, and dark. So right now these are the light tones. Got a couple more. Has everybody been painting? Have you been making cards? Happy Earth Day. I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said the earth laughs in flowers. So I think we can dedicate this to him. There's a little space over there. I think I want to fill that up with another one of these scillas. There we go. All right. So that's the base. Now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start to put a couple of little details here and there. So now I'm taking a slightly darker blue mixture. And if you notice on these scillas, they have some sort of stripy looking areas. Can you see that? Hope you can see that. So we're going to add a few little stripes here and there. And I'm taking a nearly dry brush and I'm just using the pointy tip just to get a little feeling of stripes going along the contour of the petals. Oops. So I put my finger in that wet little Johnny Jump Up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some plain water and just get that good and wet, and I'm just going to mop it up. I'm going to grab a tissue, which I don't have. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm just going to blot that, and that's all you got to do. The trick is to do it fast. Okay, back to our blue stripes. Now if you're new to watercolor painting and you'd like to get started, the watercolor class that I'm offering next month also includes supplies. So you'll get a little, a tiny palette with watercolor paints in it, a brush, and some paper, and you'll be able to follow right along. And if you decide that it's something that you really enjoy, that you'd like to spend more time doing, I will give you a list of materials that you can build into your kit over time. So you don't have to go and out and buy every single color under the sun. As I've said a lot of times, you've heard me say, I'm only working with 3 colors here. I just want you to see how easy it is to get started. And then later you can add the additional colors, and even with my full palette of colors, I only use no more than 9 or 10, I think. And many of those other colors I use very sparingly. So my background comes from the English school of watercolor painting. I'm a big fan of the British landscape watercolor painters, and the atmospheric effects that they were able to achieve with just a handful of colors is just pure genius. And we'll be talking more about that as time goes on, especially when we start getting outside and painting in the landscape. Ooh, that's a little too dark. There we go. All right, so I'm just putting an indication of the interior of the trumpet. And this one didn't get one. Let's give this one a little, oops, that's kind of muddy. No problem. Take that away. Redo. Okay. And while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to go back into my crabapple leaves. I'm just going to give them a little more texture by adding another layer of darkness. Now on Saturday, right here, same place, same time, for Paper Crafting Saturday, I think what I'll do is I will take this little pattern that I'm making and I'll show you what you can do with it. Clean up those edges. And all I'm doing here is I'm adding the darker accents mostly in the center of each little leaf cluster. Okay, now let's get back to this daffodil. And I'm going to go, I'm taking some mud on the palette and just making it a kind of a cool pale gray. And I'm using that, get a cup of tea. And I'm just, made it worse, okay. I'm just going around and I'm just putting some of those folds in there, like so. one of these here. And before we run out of room, I'm going to grab one of these Forsythia Blossoms, and I'm just taking pure yellow now. And the Forsythia has 4 petals. I've got some contamination on my brush here. I'm going to give that a little clean up. There we go. And basically I can make a little cross shape. So just like that. And just add a little bit of brightness to the pattern here and there. Where am I picking that up from? I have a contaminated yellow. Let me see if I can clean that up a little bit. It should be better. Now I think we can do a little better on the daffodils, so I'm going to go back into the daffodils. I'm going to brighten up these lower petals. That's better. I like that color better. So, you know, as you go along, you just make little adjustments here and there. You build it up. You know, you don't know exactly how it's going to look in the end. You just kind of go with it. Okay, so there's a start. I hope that gives you some ideas. I'm going to put this aside and let it dry. And it's a cute little cheerful pattern. Okay, and then on Saturday, I'll show you what you can do with this. All right, so that's all for now. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions at all, just type them in down below and I will get back to you. I'll answer them all. I don't answer questions while I'm painting because I want to, you know, get through this quickly so that you can see what I'm up to. And that's all for now. So stay well, stay in, stay creative, and I'll see you on Saturday at 12 noon for Paper Craft Saturday. Bye for now.